Guys, welcome back to the League Itself podcast. I'm Liv Golf Buff along with Liver and Onions and Liver. It is mid-September. The weather is getting cold. It's going to be winter pretty soon. What do you do to keep yourself up in terms of just being out with the good weather as the seasons go on?
Well, there's still lawn to be mowed. There's football to watch now, so that's going to get me through the off season, of course. But to me, this is my favorite time of the year. I would take like 8 months of this kind of weather if I could choose.
No, that's crazy.
Just
This weather
the
stinks.
cool mornings, the warm afternoons. That's life right there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good life, but any weather that has leaves on the ground on the golf course, I'm out. So out.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So after that minute long just bombardment of just weirdness, welcome back to the League Itself podcast. I'm Liv Golf Buff along with Liver and Onions, like I already mentioned. Today we are going to go 1 through 54 on player reviews for the 2025 individual season. There's a lot of players, so we got to kind of not run through it, but be as precise as we can in our analysis. And we'll go on different tangents, everything like that. But we have different highlights based on season stats, highlights, other notable mentions. So we're going to go through 1 through 54. And please stick with the only Live Golf podcast, only good Live Golf podcast as we do. So before we get into any of that, please subscribe to us on our channels. The League Itself podcast is on YouTube. If you're watching this podcast on YouTube, please subscribe as it is the platform that we care about the most. The League Itself podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, and more. Please rate us positively if you are listening on any of those platforms. We are most recognized on X. Please follow us on there, as that is our main socials that we post on. TikTok is my favorite content platform at the moment. Sharing Live Golf clips, different highlights, and podcast content on there. Follow me at Live Golf Buff, as it is the platform where I have the most followers. And Liver is also trying on TikTok, so please encourage him to use it more. And last but not least, the league itself is on Instagram. That is the place where we show every podcast short form clip, as well as other fun Instagram content. So check us out there if you have not at the league itself. So 1 through 54. We're going to do in order of the season-long standings, kind of segment it from the lock zone, the top three, the podium, the lock zone, drop zone, open zone. Not in that order, but you know what I mean. So we're going to get started 1 through 54. And like I said, bear with us as we go through. This is a lot of players. So obviously, number 1, Jon Rahm. First overall in total strokes gained, first overall in the season-long standings. The most consistent player of the Live Golf season. And Liver, as a Legion 13 fan, I'll let you start. Give me your Jon Rahm output.
Yeah, obviously most consistent player in the league when you look at average finishes, top tens, statistics, everything points to him being the most consistently good player in the league. The no wins this year was such a kick to the nuts. Like, I think we predicted a couple of wins. Like,
I predicted more.
He's good enough to win 4 times in a season. Now, Live is not a place where winning 4 times in a season is easy, and anybody that can do that or win more is probably the best player in the league. But that being said, Jon Rahm did capture enough points through his consistency to win the overall title. He did break that streak of top 10 finishes. He did have an 11th place finish, so that streak had to start over. I'm sure we'll talk about that next year, a few events in when that top 10 streak is going strong again. So not a lot to talk about with Jon Rahm. I mean, where does he improve? Where's his weaknesses? Like, I don't know. You tell me. Like, hard to say that a guy like
where
that.
his weaknesses are is none of them. Like, nothing's wrong with Jon Rahm, especially at the end of the season where he came to life with being in contention in Chicago, when losing in the playoffs in Chicago and Indy, obviously winning the team championship. Like, he was clearly the best player in the league. I'll concede for those last 3 events of the year. And I think that's very easy to say. But yeah, him not winning an event and then winning the season-long race is kind of disappointing. But you look at the money list, that fancy smancy money list, he lost to Waco by $10 million. and was a clear second place. So Liv just was a money list. The best player would have gotten rewarded this year. So that's our John Rahm thing. Let's move to Wacko Neiman. Second in the standings. I predicted him to be third. And I don't know what you predicted him to be, but we were both pretty high on him. You had him second. We got to say our beginning of the season prediction and what we had him, and then where they ended. So I predicted him third. You predicted him second. He finished second. Third in total strokes gained this year. League leader in wins and straight guts. Wacko, the best player in our league. Is that accurate?
I don't think. I mean, I can say you can't argue that. Obviously, a lot of people have argued it and will continue to argue it. But to win in 13 events, to win 5 times, that's the best player, hands down.
Yeah.
Going back to predictions, I had John Rahm, and you and I, we did a whole spiel on where we thought guys would finish, right? And we put it on X, and so you can go find it. You can tell us how wrong we were. We'll talk about it. I had John Rahm first, Wacko second, Bryson third. So if there was a prize for getting the best 3 players right in the right order, that prize would go to me.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty remarkable to get the podium, to get 1 through 3 correct. Even though those are clearly the 3 best players in the league, but the correct order and, correct finish. I mean, there's other places that I was right that you weren't, but that's okay. But Wacko, I mean, there's nothing really to say about him other than he was clearly the best all season.
Yeah, and if he can get a little more consistent, he did finish 33rd was his low, and he finished 33rd 2 times. Like, hard to fault the guy for that. Okay, if he doesn't have those types of tournaments, he wins the league by a mile. Like, if he has 2 top 10s instead of 2 33rds, no one else is saying that there's a better player in the league than Wacko. So
If he has 2 top 12s, top 15s, like he barely lost to Rahm.
Yeah.
So we're punishing
but any
Wacko.
Significant points there instead of a no points. And then all of a sudden that kind of fake drama of the last round on the last day or the whole last tournament isn't really a thing, but it was, and that provided its own excitement. So we lived with it. You're the Bryson guy. You want to go Bryson 3?
Yep.
I predicted him third, finished third. You predicted him
fourth, finished third. Okay. Bryson second in total strokes gained, first and off the tee by 0.6 of a stroke, which is pretty remarkable to be that far ahead of the next best guy, especially with the great players that are on LIV Golf. I think overall for Bryson, I think a lot of Bryson fans would probably agree with me with his LIV Golf season, just the season in general with the majors too. But there was so much to be desired with how he drove the ball. Easily his best driving year ever, just from my opinion. I didn't look into it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was easily his best driving year ever. Like, super straight, super long, always in good spots. But just the tinkering with the irons and the wedges and the ball, like, it kind of disrupted the outcome for him in terms of actually winning golf events. So it was just, there was so much more out there, and it feels like kind of a wasted year in my opinion. But going back to just like the LIV Golf season, just going through his rounds, like Miami, where he was dynamite the first 2 rounds, Mexico City, where he was dynamite the first 2 rounds, especially that first round. That was probably the most fun round I've had watching him ever. Korea, winning there, the PGA Championship, where it was really good until the final 9 holes, and then Virginia as well. Like, that stretch of 5 events may be the most fun stretch where a guy has come close to winning, and was easily the most dynamic player on the golf course, in my opinion. So like that stretch alone, like that, there was so much out there. But that's just my Bryson ramble of, he was great this year, but he could have been so much better.
And I don't have much to add other than from a league standpoint, he is the needle mover. That's not just a saying that goes around on X. Like, you were to 2 events, I was to 1. Like, it doesn't matter if he's in the mix or if he's not. Like, the group following him is the biggest group. Like, No
Always.
matter where they go in the world, everybody wants to see Bryson. So to have that sort of following and then be asked to perform week in, week out, like I think it's what Bryson wants. Now let's get the equipment figured out and have a season next year where we feel like there's some consistency in what he's doing.
Yeah, 2026 I feel is going to be a great year for him. Just kind of rebound from this.
All right, so top three is done. Let's move on. We'll try and move quick through some players. We're going to have to slow down a little bit on some guys, but moving into the lock zone, this is where things got a little hairy for me with the predictions. Finishing fourth was Sebastian Munoz, and I had predicted him 34th. You had predicted him
ninth.
So you saw something with Sebastian that I clearly didn't see. I would say he was kind of my biggest miss as far as where we had a couple other big misses, but the other way. You nailed it. I missed it. So from a performance standpoint, I mean, this season is going to kind of be defined by that round at Chatham Hills. And no matter what kind of golf you're a fan of or what kind of course you thought Chatham Hills was, what he did there was special no matter where you do it. And I think when we look back at this season, there's going to be a lot of things that stand out, but one of the big memories or things of this season is going to be that round that he put together with the consecutive birdies after starting with a bogey. And I mean, but then on top of that, what he did all season with his consistency to finish fourth in the league totally got me by surprise, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, like you look at it from like a strokes gain perspective before the season, I think Sebastian Munoz was notably the best player that had never won on LIV Golf. So you carry that into this year where he's been mighty competitive in the past. LIV Golf doesn't play the hardest golf courses. I really thought this year was going to be a year where he finally breaks out after having tournaments where he's come close in the past and not doing it. And you look at Orlando in 2023, you look at Chicago, you look at Riyadh this year, and like he just wasn't able to get it done. And to finally get it done this year, it was incredible for him, obviously in his career. But I think best part of it is that you absolutely clowned me for being high on him. I thought he was going to have a really good season. I would have never guessed fourth. I mean, shit, I thought I was being generous at ninth. He's a good player, great player.
Great
So
player.
Sebastian Munoz, like he does not get the respect he deserves. He's a better version of Patrick Reed in terms of not being able to win and then finally doing it on LIV Golf. In my opinion, he had the best season of any first time winner.
Yeah, I mean, from a consistency standpoint, from what his high end play was. One thing I think with him is being around Waco. I think that pushes him so much, and I know those Torquay guys have talked about just watching Waco and how he approaches practice and how the drills he does and just the winning mentality that Waco brings to that team. I think that's elevating Sebastian Munoz. And then crazy to think, like we already talked about Waco's 5 wins and Sebastian Munoz throws one more on top, that 6 of the 13 LIV events this year were won by 2 guys and they happen to be on the same team. Like whether that breakdown is 5-1 or 3-3 or whatever, that's still crazy and something we may never see again.
Well, I mean, you could say like Joaquin Niemann and Mito Pereira won a combined 5 LIV Golf events this year.
Yeah, but they also didn't finish second and fourth in the league, which
that's true.
2 guys from the same team like literally just dominated the league together. So
yeah, pretty incredible.
Fun to watch. Finishing 5th, I thought 18th was Dean Burmester. Dean again grabs a win late in the season. Last year he won at Doral. This year at Chicago. Had a podium at Hong Kong as well. Dean was pretty consistent. He did have a 51st place finish at Andalusia, but when you talk about course fit with Dean, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Dean's going to bomb it, and when he won at Doral, that didn't surprise anybody. Maybe a little more that he won at Chicago, but not necessarily. Where did you have him predicted to finish?
I had Burmester 16th. So we were pretty on par with our assessment of him.
Yeah.
And with Burmester, obviously he's going to bomb it. And when there's courses that are straightforward, I think that's where he settles best. But Chicago winning, you mentioned 3 other top 5s. Like, he's proven to be a real force in LIV Golf going forward, like a clear number 1 on a team. Like, he can contend for an individual championship in the future.
Yeah.
I feel very confident in that. He's been at the near the top of the standings in the past. He just needs to get to better starts of the season, which he had a great start this year, but it kind of fizzled out and then kind of came back. So Dean Burmester is a great player. I mean, easy to root for, everything. So great guy.
It's funny. I had in my notes, like, Dean doesn't really get attention except when he wins. Like, if you said to a casual LIV Golf fan, who's the 5 best players on LIV? Like, I don't think people are just, even though he finished 5th, Dean doesn't come to mind. Like, he's not a top
Say
of
that
mind
about
guy.
the top 10 LIV best players on LIV, and I don't think Dean Burmester comes to mind to most.
He just goes about things quietly. He's not, other than when he wins, they don't have him in the media room. He's not the captain for Stinger, so he's not being asked to do media appearances. Like, he's just kind of an under the radar top 5 player in the league.
Yeah. No, yeah. And he's super under the radar, but he does a great job of just like keeping to himself and playing well. So I got nothing bad to say about him.
Taylor Gooch finished 6th. What did you have for Taylor Gooch?
I had him in 8th.
All right. You almost nailed that one. I had him 15th.
Wow.
He had not scored a single point through the first 4 events. And honestly, I kind of felt like this was going to be a wasted season for him. Like, it just didn't feel like there was spark there. He was going through the motions. You looked at Smash and you thought, okay, through 4 events, Brooks was okay. Brooks had, what, a 2nd and a 7th. And you thought, if Gooch can just get it going, Smash will be fine. Well, Gooch got it going and Brooks fell off the edge of the earth. But finished top 15 in 7 of the last 9 events. So after not scoring a point through 4 events, 7 of the last 9, he finishes top 15 and racks up enough points to elevate himself all the way to 6th.
Yeah. And 5 of those, the 7 were in the top 10. So he couldn't have started any worse and then returned to form and then became an elite golfer again. I'm really interested to see what he does this offseason because he hasn't played much. Like, he played the Dunhill last year in the Saudi International. He plays the Saudi International every year, but I'm curious to see if he's going to play any more. He's one of those guys that we talk about in the past. Like, does he really care about OWGR points? I think we both agree that, like, he doesn't really show it if he does. So it'll be interesting to see how much he plays, see what his schedule may look like, and see how he views going into 2026, what his priorities are. So that's one to keep an eye out of. Like, what's this guy going to do?
You had mentioned Sebastian Munoz, best player to not get a win. Finishing 7th was Patrick Reed. I mean, those are the 2 guys, right? I thought when we did our pick a player, pick his score, or we talked about potential winners kind of throughout the year, early on, I thought Patrick Reed has a win coming. Patrick Reed has a win coming. And when it didn't come through, about the first half of the season, I wasn't so sure. And then he goes and he wins his home event basically at Merido. So I had predicted him 7th and he finished 7th. So another green check mark for me. Where did you have Patrick Reed?
I had him 12th.
Okay. Through the first 4 events, he was T29 in the standings. And then he finishes top 10 in 4 of the next 6, including the win in Dallas. And that's kind of where, similar to Taylor Gooch, like, something clicked and all of a sudden Patrick Reed was clearly one of the top players on LIV, which hard to say he couldn't or wouldn't be, but early on he wasn't showing it. Statistically very good as far as strokes gained, plays a ton outside of LIV, which I think in his case helps keep him a little more sharp year round. We'll talk about a few guys, and we have talked about a few guys already who are slow starters to the season. Patrick Reed, that was surprising this year because he had played so much, or he plays so much in between LIV events and in the LIV off season. To have a slow start from him was surprising. I just don't see it because to him, he doesn't really have an off season.
Yeah, he doesn't have one. I think we got to commend him for his real improvement that he showed this year from last. Like, he was 20th in 2024. up to 7th this year. Obviously, winning helps, but every LIV Golf fan who simps Patrick Reed is saying, "Oh, he's one of the top 5 players in the league." People will say Patrick Reed's a better player than Dean Burmester in terms of
Right.
just like raw best players in the league, which might not be wrong, but now that he finally has the hardware, even though he backed into that win at Merido, it's easy. It's a lot easier to appreciate Patrick Reed on LIV Golf as a winner. So good for him. Obviously, next year will be a big year just to kind of see if he can keep up that improvement. Maybe winning once turns into winning multiple times. I think we can all root for that. So that's what I'm looking for Patrick Reed going forward.
Patrick Reed had the best major finish of any LIV player this year as well, finishing 3rd at the Masters, correct?
I don't know. We're the league itself. You think I care about those silly
Well,
little majors?
just from him playing a lot outside and how his game, I mean, won the Hong Kong Open. Like Patrick Reed plays a lot of golf and contends in a lot of different golf tournaments, and that's not by mistake. So,
Bryson, when he at the Open Championship, was leader in the clubhouse. So does that count?
Sure.
Perfect. Let's move on.
Carlos Ortiz finished 8th. I had him 17th. Huge jump from him. Where did you have him?
I had him 20th.
So he far exceeded our expectations of him. I think we thought nice 3rd player. I honestly thought he was the 2nd player. Obviously underestimated Sebastian Munoz. But if Carlos Ortiz is your 3rd best guy on a team, your team's really good. And we'll talk about their 4th guy, obviously. But Carlos Ortiz is one of my favorite human beings on LIV. And we don't see that much of his personality. But when we do, I love it. Just seems like he'd be a fun guy to hang out with.
Yeah. No, fun guy to hang out with, of course. But after 2024, where he finished 13th, like him moving up in the standings and not winning is a real testament to his consistency overall. And he bounced back great after the US Open, where he came so close and had a little bit of a hangover from that in Dallas and Valderrama. End of the season, Chicago and Indy, 4th and T4. So the resilience on Carlos Ortiz is real. And so that's something we could root for going forward. I don't know how high his ceiling is in terms of like season long standings. Like, is 8th the top that he can get? I don't know, but it should be silly for us to doubt Carlos Ortiz going forward. 2025 is a great year after a really good 2024.
I don't think it's his ceiling, because I think if he can win an event in a season, that's so many points that he's just good enough to keep tally with all the other points he's going to pick up. That if he could win an event and get those kind of points, I think we could see him at 6th or 5th next year.
Yeah.
Now, hard to duplicate that from one year to the next. But Sergio Garcia finished 9th. I had him finishing 8th. I thought he was going to have a good year. He really did for a good chunk of it, and then he didn't. Where did you have him predicted?
I had him 7th, so pretty close.
We smothered that. Sergio was a tale of 2 seasons to me. Through 5 events, he was in solo 2nd. We thought, like, this is a refreshed Sergio. Like, he's going to gun for the season title. Obviously, there was all those silly Ryder Cup rumblings. Is he going to compete in some majors? And then he goes the next 4 events and doesn't score a single point. And Sergio, it just felt like was 2 different people at that point. Great off the tee as far as strokes gained, kind of average everywhere else. And then I had his biggest accomplishment on the season was bringing in Jose Ballester. So,
wow, man, show Sergio a little respect. It's kind of messed up.
I mean,
it's a great accomplishment.
A win is great, but to bring in a rookie who bolsters your team the way that Ballester did towards the end of the season and the potential that he has, like, to me, that's some lasting effects that move is going to have.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, winning in any event is we are defending Waco. Like, winning matters. Like, that's a John Rahm type award of like, oh, his best accomplishment wasn't winning; it was actually bringing in someone. That's how I view that. But with Sergio, he was 18th tee to green this year, and that was down from when he was 3rd in 2024. Like, amazing start early, but he just lost like his purest form during the Masters. So I think overall, like we shouldn't be pumping the brakes because Sergio's really been an elite player on LIV Golf throughout his entire tenure here. I think it's just a matter of time before he kind of gets back to what his form was. So I'm confident he bounces back in 2026.
Following right up behind him is his teammate, David Puig, finished 10th. I had him 20th in my predictions. The crazy thing to me is I thought he would finish 20th, and in any single event, he never finished lower than 20th. That's unbelievable to have that sort of consistency. Basically, you're talking ROM consistency, just not as quite at as high of a level. Puig and Rahm are the only two players in the league to score points in every single event. What did you have in your notes with Puig?
Well, I mean, the lack of contention and great consistency, like that's the formula to do well and LIV Golf, obviously. But 2026, like the win feels inevitable at that point. Like when you're fourth and off the tee, you're sixth in putting, like that combination is so deadly. Like, how does that not win? So I'm viewing this international series season, if he plays in many of those events, 2026 overall is like a year where David Puig has a real chance to come out and just break out as a real superstar. So no pressure, obviously, but we're all kind of begging on you to kind of get one close and get one done, please.
Yeah, just show us the podium at some point. Like 3 times this year, he finished 4th place. Never made the podium. So let's start with that. Let's get you on the podium, David Puig, and then figure out how to win after that.
Yep.
Bubba Watson. This is my, I guess by place numbers, my biggest miss. After last year, how do you blame someone for thinking Bubba wouldn't have a great year? He did get relegated, whatever that means. We don't even know. So finished 11th. I had him 51st. He finished 53rd last year. Not like he was borderline relegated, like he was bad.
Yeah.
And then this year, he never has a tournament where he finishes lower than 58th after finishing 53rd last year.
You mean 28th, 38th,
38th. Sorry.
58th.
Never.
You don't have that many people on here.
Didn't finish lower than 38th this season. A season after finishing 53rd in the standings. So I think I had more fun watching Bubba's season this year. Like Bryson's fun, Rahm's fun when he's playing. Like I had so much fun watching Bubba, and I think it was because Bubba was having fun playing golf.
Yeah.
He was a totally different guy this year than when he was laboring through every round a season ago.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that far to say I've had the most fun watching him when we had a guy win 5 times, but just in terms of like pure excitement, like, oh, Bubba's doing well. Like I think that that sort of tingling inside. Like I only get that when Phil's doing well too. It's like it's a short list of guys. It's when they're playing well, it's like, oh, you can't miss this. Bubba improved in every stat, but most stark was he was 47th in putting in 2024 and moved up to 8th. Like that's remarkable. And having that stretch in UK where he was 8 under through 6 holes and gave Waco a run for his money in a tournament that he had no business contending in, like just that all alone proved that one, relegation stupid, but two, Bubba Watson is just an electric factory when he wants to be. And we've never had those moments of him being that before on LIV Golf until this year. So hopefully 2026 brings us more joy in watching Bubba make runs.
Yeah, I mean, when we get to the beginning of next year and we start predicting where guys are going to finish, I don't think I'll have Bubba finishing 11th or better. But
God, no.
I'm not gonna be stupid and predict him 51st either. Abraham Answer finished 12th. I thought 13th, so almost nailed that one on the head. What did you have for Abe?
10th. And just for clarity's sake, I had Bubba 53rd. So I was more wrong about him than you were. So just wanted to put that out there.
Answer continues to just be like one solid piece of the Fireballs team. Like points in 8 of 13 events, had a second place finish at Adelaide, a T3 at Andalusia. He never really has an off tournament. He had a 42nd place finish, but when Answer's off, he's not that far off. Like his worst finish, you don't feel like he had a disaster of a tournament. He's an even-keeled guy. Emotionally, things don't, I mean, he can have a little fire once in a while and toss a club or whatever, but it doesn't lead to like a blow up where he finishes 50th. It's going to be really interesting. We talked about it last week, how this Fireballs team figures out who's their one, who's their four. Like we kind of mentioned, like maybe they have 4 twos, and it's a really good thing for that franchise going forward. And Abe Answer can be as solid of a piece as any of those guys going forward.
Yeah, I mean, and Answer what everyone else on the Fireballs doesn't have other than Sergio is that win. You know, he's gotten it done before. He's been close in other events. This year, Adelaide, where he's in the final group, he's up by 2 against Waco at the start of the day, and at the end goes bogey as Waco ends up walking away with it. Where after that, like Answer just didn't put himself in positions to win, but it was just more consistency throughout the season and being a solid player. Where did he finish in the money list? I'm confused. Or I'm not confused. I'm curious. So he finished 12th in the money list. So in line with his standing. So I'm just with obviously his consistency going forward. Like you got to applaud a guy that can actually get it done too. So it'll be interesting to see how the Fireballs would actually rank internally. But yeah, I mean, Abe Answer, another solid season. He's not going anywhere from that top 12 in my predictions and the actual standings going forward.
Mark Leishman finished 13th. I had him inside the lock zone, but barely. I thought 24th. Mark's win this year, like that didn't surprise. I hope it didn't surprise people. Like he finishes top 5 a couple of times every season. Like he can figure out his way. Like I feel like his course management is so good that like if he's kind of there going into like late Saturday, early Sunday, like he's a guy you probably don't want chasing you just because he has a presence about him, right? I think he commands his play really well as far as strategically around the course. Statistically, probably is like finishes 13th, but when you look at his statistics, it's very like average.
Yeah.
I don't. His inconsistency of play is also confusing, and it kind of. I think he finished. Was it 51st after his win or right before his win?
It was right before.
Yeah,
but he finished in the 50s 3 times.
Right.
Like he's a true boomer bust, and I think it kind of for Ripper in general. Like, is Mark Leishman your 2 or your 3 going forward?
Yeah, and
how do you? I'm just asking you. Like, how do you rank it?
Well, I think him and Lucas Herbert, depending on who's hot. I mean, it's a really good problem to have, right? You have a 2 and a 3 that are both capable of podiuming. So Mark Leishman seems to be more solid at times, but then you look and he has those 3 finishes in the 50s, and you're like, okay, so if we could just get rid of one of those, if instead of finishing 51st, he finished 10th one week, he would have been a top 10 player in the league.
Yeah.
So he's not far off. Lucas Herbert, we'll get to him here shortly. He had times when he could shine too, and then also has stretches where he's just kind of out of it. So I think Mark Leishman's my 2 just from a experience factor. He's been around, played a ton of golf. I was happy to see him get the win. So
yeah, definitely. Even though I wouldn't, or Singapore before screwed me for our bet, but that's okay.
That's right. Yep. Finishing 14th, Dustin Johnson. So I had him 10th.
I also had him 10th.
Okay.
Wow.
So DJ had a podium, and he also finished dead last twice. If you had told me that a player, or DJ specifically, would finish dead last, not once, but twice this season, I would say, DJ finished like 35th in the league. Like, to finish dead last twice is crazy. And then to have a podium and finish in the top 15 means that DJ also played some really good golf.
Well, dead last twice 25th in strokes gained total for the season. So, like, he played so bad of golf to finish basically in the smack dab in the middle of strokes gained. So, like, you erase those, it's a lot better of a statistical season for him. But then you look at the numbers even further. Three of his best 4 rounds in 2025 were in Chicago and Indianapolis. So, like, as the season came to a close, he only got better. We all heard on the grounds all season that no one's grinding harder than DJ. DJ's always in the range. He's addicted to it. Um, and it proved in the results in Indianapolis that okay, DJ's been working. So it'll be interesting to see what his offseason looks like. I'm sure it'll be similar to Gooch in terms of playing the Dunhill and the Saudi International. But I hope we can get one more in there. Is he playing Wentworth this week?
No, but he's playing multiple times. He said that because the whole "are you going to win every single year" thing came up, and he said he's going to have a couple more opportunities yet this year to win. So my guess is that means international series. We'll see where that ends up being.
And if he plays more than the Saudi International, that'd be a real win for whatever event gets him. He might play the Hong Kong Open. Maybe.
I could see that.
I don't know.
I think for him, the key to, well, obviously don't finish dead last twice, but also he didn't get any points until his 4th event. And that it kind of solidifies the narrative around DJ, right? That it's kind of a lazy off season. He gets back into golf a couple weeks before the first event. Like,
I'm not here for it. There's people on this app or on X that say the same thing. I'm not going to buy into it.
But I'm also not completely saying that the evidence says otherwise. Like, I'd like to see him show up event 1 or event 2 and finish 15th.
He won event 2 in last year, 2024, he started out so hot. Yeah. He won Vegas, played well in Mayakoba after saying he didn't do a thing during the offseason.
You're right.
So
you're right.
We can DJ is a wild card. He's actually a captain, but a wild card in theory.
Lucas Herbert finished 15th. I thought 11th. I was predicting.
I also thought 11th.
Wow, we had 10th and 11th.
Did I not change these? I did. Actually, no, I didn't. Shit, because I predicted answer 10th.
Oh, all right.
I got it. Okay, that's funny.
I think just with where Lucas Herbert finished off last year and then playing in the LIV off season, there was so much momentum. I thought he was going to be a little better. Obviously, thinking 11th and him finishing 15th isn't far off, but through 7 events, he was 5th place in the league, and it felt like, okay, Lucas Herbert's going to be that next guy for a ripper. Like, Cam was struggling a little bit. Lucas Herbert said, I want to be the number 2 here. So through 7 events, he's 5th place in the league, and then he failed to score a single point in his last 6 events.
Yeah, you talk about tale of 2 seasons. Like, that's a real tale of 2 seasons. Just for clarity, I predicted DJ at 11th and Herbert at 13th. So
not far off.
And the rest seem to be changed. But going back to Lucas Herbert, T3 in putting average, but 34th in strokes gained putting. Interesting juxtaposition there. Rick Shields had him on, and he was one of the best players in the world. But Rick Shields, wrong again, because if you're 34th in strokes gained putting, you're obviously not, even though I know historically he's a really good putter. But going back to like his season, like obviously terrible to end, did not finish in the points once in the second half. His off season will be interesting because he's the current leader of the international series. So will he play in high leverage events that mean something? Not like his position's in jeopardy, but I'm sure he wants to feel a little bit of pride in winning that. But kind of fix the funk that he's in before 2026. So I'm sure he'll play in a few international series. He'll obviously play in the Australian events coming up. But Lucas Herbert's got a big offseason ahead in terms of just playing golf.
Paul
Casey, really an off season for him.
Yeah, he'll play it.
Sorry. Yeah.
Paul Casey finished 16th. What did you have him?
I had him 14th.
Okay, you almost nailed that. I thought 19th. Considered by some to be the best player on the Crushers for part of the season. Paul Casey, the year that basically we both predicted. We know he's middle of the lock zone type player. His worst finish is 32nd. He never has blow up tournaments. Like, he never plays himself really out of much. If you're finishing 32nd at worst, you're scoring a lot of points. It doesn't seem like you go the U.S. events or the Asian events or whatever. Like, Paul Casey has just as much chance to contend no matter where they go.
Yeah.
His medium approach, strokes gained, like, he's elite. Everywhere else, he's average or a little above. I mean, he is what he is at this point in his career. Like, there's not a lot of weakness in his game. He needs to stay healthy. He can be a top 20 player on LIV for a long time yet.
Yeah, easily. He's got a few more years left in the tank. I mean, you mentioned his season finishes like tied into the final round heading into Hong Kong, stumbled into the playoff in Dallas, was down 3 heading into the day, shot even par, and made it to the playoffs somehow. Started on 1 in Chicago. So if you're starting in those last 2 groups, you're obviously in contention in my view. But you can never get a final round of contention going when he's in the mix. So I view Paul Casey potentially as the best player to not win on LIV Golf yet.
I could find some merit in that.
Because I mean, like, you look at it, like, there's not many other contenders. Like, maybe Lucas Herbert, maybe Louis Oosthuizen, maybe Honorbon, probably Tom McKibben. I don't know, but
Thomas
like,
Peters.
oh, I don't even know if I agree with that. Thomas Peters, like, this is easily his best year on LIV Golf. Like, he's never been close to winning before.
Yeah, no, and we'll get to him. That was, I don't know, name that jumped out, but no, you're probably right with Paul Casey.
It's a good debate.
Right. I mean, obviously a career full of success and just hasn't quite been able to capture that on LIV, even though he's been really solid. Okay, and then moving on to the lowest finishing player who also had a win at 17th was Adrian Meronk. I thought 9th place. I thought Adrian was going to have a top 10 type season. Where did you have him?
I had him 18th. He finished 17th.
Almost nailed it. Obviously, when he wins the first event and I have him finishing 9th in the standings, I'm like, all right, top 10, here we come. And then he has a stretch of like 7 events in a row in the middle of the season where he didn't score a single point. Then it's like, okay, is he not even going to finish in the lock zone? Because he was out of the lock zone for a little while. But rounded things off, finished the season a lot better, climbs back into 17th. There wasn't any question his place was safe, but to get back in the lock zone, I think for him and just to be playing better heading into the off season, where he's going to play a lot of golf. He's going to play. He played last week. He's going to play again this week. Like, I think probably helps him mature a little bit as a golfer, because that's my biggest question mark with Adrian Meronk, coming from the European Tour where he, was top 10, got his PGA Tour card, snub for the Ryder Cup, decides to go to LIV. Like, we just hadn't seen a high level, consistent Adrian Meronk. Now we've seen the high level. Let's find the consistency. He's a little bit of a fickle. Seems like when things go bad for him, they kind of go worse. So I'd just like to see next year pick up a little more consistency. I don't know if he can win an event a season. He's obviously talented enough to win. Winning out here is hard. There's a lot of other guys that are going to win, but I think like more top 10s, more podiums have to be in his future at some point here.
Yeah, I mean, Meronk's truly fickle, like you mentioned. 32nd in total strokes gained this season, the lowest rank in terms of a strokes gained winner on LIV Golf in 2025. There's only been one winner who's had a lower strokes gained season that has ended up winning in the last 3 seasons. Can you guess who that person is? It's a
In the
great
last
trivia
3
question.
seasons. So you're
23,
leaving 2020.
24, 25.
Okay, 23, 24, 25. Boy.
No cheating.
No, nobody jumps to the top of my head, because Taylor Gooch, Abe Answer.
The answer is Danny Lee.
Danny Lee,
who was 41st in strokes gained. Actually, 41st. Where is he? Danny Lee. I just had him and I lost him. I had this all ready to go. Yeah, 41st, excuse me, in 2023 in total strokes gained. So pretty remarkable to be that bad and win.
And win. Yeah.
Good for him. Move on.
Uh, Cam Smith finished 18th. I predicted him 4th. What did you have him?
I had him 6th.
Okay, so we both thought a lot better season was in store for Cam Smith than it was. I think not the most disappointing thing, like his best finish was 5th place. That to me was kind of he was never he was never like trending upward, even though like there was moments of good golf. I don't know if it was like the new fatherhood thing, but like statistically, he's 6th in total strokes gains. He's 6th in average finish. He doesn't have bad tournaments, but he just never had those really good tournaments. To not have a single podium was the biggest disappointment for me from a guy that I expected to have multiple wins, and yes, multiple, like plural. I thought things were just going in a direction where Cam Smith was going to be back and we were going to be saying, is this the year of Cam Smith? So I'm saying 2026 is a Cam Smith, do you remember me type year? Because he's big things coming in 2026 for Cam Smith.
Yeah. Oh, I'm okay. That's what do you remember me means? Yeah, I'm in. Because you look at Cam Smith, first and around the green, 4th in putting, but in the mid to late 30s in off the tee and approach. If he can get his driver into, let's say, the 20s in terms of rank on LIV Golf, he's easily going to win. Like his best golf is when he remains neutral to the field in strokes gained off the tee. And when he's as bad as he has been the last 2 seasons, like he has nothing with that thing. That driver is a killer to him. Like it's just that driver being average that's what's holding him back from winning because he's such an elite player everywhere else. So Cam Smith, we got to applaud the consistency because being 6th in average finish should mean that you're an elite player in this league. Somehow he finished 18th with that. I'm not sure how that works out, but
if you don't finish higher than 5th ever, you just don't get those big chunks of points.
That's true. Yeah, we got to just get Cam Smith to move up just a touch higher.
Do you have the money list up?
Yeah.
Where was Cam on the money list?
Cam on the money list was 23rd.
Interesting.
Maybe that's a more accurate representation of how his season actually went.
Yeah. I mean, again, the money and the points, even though they are vastly different in how they're awarded to winners and things like that, you don't get either if you don't finish higher than 5th ever. So
it's true. That's an interesting one there.
Thomas Peters finished 19th. I thought 28th. I did not think he would be a lock zone player. The trade in the offseason, but getting paired up with HV3 proved to be a pretty good thing for him.
Yeah. I had him 30th, which that's what he's been the whole time. He's in 2023, he was 33rd. In 2024, he was 30th. It just turned out a new change of scenery. It was really all it took. But more, into the numbers, 4th and around the green this year, he was 40th around the green in 2024. So that's the reason for his real stark improvement. And I think his demeanor overall fits the 4 aces a lot better than it does the range goats. Like, a very, I don't want to say pompous, but like he comes off as someone who's just better than you. And that's a good thing on that team. Like there is 4 people on the 4 aces who like they're better and they know it. And I think Thomas Peters fits that mold. And I'm not saying that in a bad way at all. I actually really enjoyed Thomas Peters' game and just overall who he is. So big fan of Thomas Peters. I think next year is a big year for him where he could potentially, continue this momentum and maybe even get a win on LIV Golf.
It's like and I know we're the league itself, and you always hate when I bring up non-league itself things. That's like a great trivia question about guys on the Ryder Cup. The fact that Thomas Peters was a Ryder Cup guy in 2016, and then had a couple of top 10s at majors in the 2 years following that, like this year was as close to like that type of Thomas Peters potential as we've seen. And if he can continue building on that, his game looks better, but he also looks more comfortable on the team he's on. and with the surroundings that he has. And we talked about, does this team make any changes? Is there personnel changes at all with the 4 aces? I mean, the only team with 4 guys in the lock zone, it's hard to say that you would change things, but if you're Thomas Peters, your fingers are crossed, like, please don't change anything. Like, I feel like this is the right situation for me, and I can take another step forward next year.
Yeah, I agree.
Finishing 20th, the Tom McKibben podcast. I mean, Tom McKibben finished 20th. Another one of my biggest misses. Where did you have him?
26th.
Yeah, so you saw something in Tom McKibben that I didn't. I had him 46th. Honestly, I just thought going European tour to LIV, especially when you're, what is he, 23 years old at that time, like, that was going to be a big jump for him, and he proved that it wasn't. If we were giving out awards, Tom McKibben's the Rookie of the Year or Newcomer
Tom McKibben
of the Year.
was 22 this season.
22 this season. Okay.
Yeah.
So of all the new guys, obviously Tom McKibben was the most solid for the length of the season. Obviously acclimated to his team well, to the format well. But also when you hear him talk about why he chose LIV, he was watching LIV and he loved everything about it. So looking back on it now, it doesn't surprise me that he acclimated as quickly as he did and was able to do what he did. And thankfully he did, because if he doesn't, I'm not sure Legion pulls off the championship. So
yeah, no, I mean, Tom McKibben, great player, obviously. His real only setback this year, in my opinion, was his putting, 43rd. But he was kind of playing putter roulette throughout the season. He just had a bunch of weird looking things. No one else had those putters that he had. So I would say Tom McKibben, the highlight of his season. Any guesses?
I mean,
there's only one right answer, by the way.
Team championship.
Close. Anything specific within the team championship?
Well, the fact that him and Caleb won both of their alternate shot matches.
Oh my God, wrong. It's meeting us at the restaurant. That was the highlight of his season. That's the only reason why they won the fucking thing.
Yeah, well, maybe it's the fact that we prepared him by telling him his matchup for the following day when he didn't know it yet.
Yeah, and he was easily going to wipe the floor with them. So that was obvious.
I think jumps off the page for me that he didn't finish worse than 38th in any event. And the fact that I thought he would finish 46th in the league. He finished
47th in Korea.
He finished 47th in Korea. I missed that. Okay.
Yikes.
But one event, like, he's so solid, and he was so ready to make this move and play at this level. Excited to see what happens for him next year. 21st, Charles Howell III. I thought 30th place. Had a nice season. Unfortunately, his best chance to win was Korea, and it was stolen from him by his teammate.
Stolen? That's insane.
Not stolen, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't
know what you mean. You're acting like it was like
that was his chance to win, and if anybody else won that event, he wanted it, I'm sure, to be Bryson. So all is well. They got the double win in Korea. Crushers won the team. Bryson won the individual. Great bounce back year for him after last year was filled with injuries, missed some events, plays the whole season, locks in his contract for next year. No question marks with him. Solid piece of that team that doesn't need to change.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned Korea, 9 under. He was 5 shots back of Bryson heading into the final round. Ended up losing by 2, but he gave Bryson everything he could possibly ask for. I am going to go on a limb and say that Charles Howell III will always be the Crushers' number 4 going forward. I'm not having any more discussion about it. Is that fair for me to say?
Just where he falls in the standings each year, or just how he's perceived on the team?
Perception, yeah.
No, I'm not ready to do that until Honorbond shows me that he has a little more dog.
Okay.
Because if
That's fine.
Charles Howell has the same opportunities to win that Honorbahn has, Charles Howell gets a win.
And Charles Howell is a winner on LIV Golf.
So yeah,
Okay.
Mayakoba, right?
Yeah.
Anything else on Charles?
No, I mean, good season, really good. You mentioned the injuries. I had that. You mentioned Korea. I had that. And then I made my point and you kind of shot it down. So I got nothing.
Harold Varner the third. Obviously, if you have the third after your name, you are a lock zone player in this league. So I don't know if there's any other the thirds out there, but they should be joining LIV. 22nd place finish. I thought Harold Varner would finish 35th.
Ooh, yikes.
Turns out the situation with him and Thomas Peters being on the team together and being able to put some of his off the course problems behind him was a good thing for Harold.
Listen, I'm not here for that off the course shit. Maybe he still has every off the course problem imaginable. You don't know that. I'm not here to perpetuate any rumors. But I predicted Harold Varner to be 22nd, and he finished 22nd, so I should get props for that. But best with Harold Varner, 6th in ball striking this year on Data Golf. But the places that LIV Golf came back to, 5 of the 7 that we returned to from 2024, he did substantially better. 48th in 2024 in Adelaide, 7th this year. 21st in Miami in 2024, 7th this year. 32nd in Singapore in 2024, 19th this year. 51st in Valderrama, 23rd this year, and 13th in Chicago in 2024, 5th this year. So Harold Varner played really well at the courses that he's familiar with. And there was another one in there that we returned to. I don't remember which one, but he was 18th to 15th. And then there was one that he didn't improve at. So, overall, like Harold Varner should be applauded most for a real turnaround this year because of those off-season issues, whatever, off the course issues. But a great year. And he's a perfect fit on the 4 Aces now that he's a formidable golfer.
If you're a captain and you said, hey, your fourth player is going to get points in 10 out of 13 events this year, you're pretty jacked up about your year. And that's what Harold did. Like any other team would love to have their fourth guy get 10 out of 13 events points. If Harold could putt, 4 Aces would have been because there was only 3 players in the whole league that were worse strokes gained putting than Harold.
I mean, that much of an improvement in his standing this year to still be 52nd in putting.
You're right.
That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah. Finished 5th twice. No higher finishes than that. Improve that putting, and Harold Varner's a lock zone player again next year. Easy.
Yeah.
If not like top 15 type guy. Charles Schwartzel finished 23rd. Another guy I thought was going to be further down in the open zone. I had him 38th. Kind of felt like he found a groove this year. Last year he was 21st and lock zone. And I thought, he would maybe take a step back, another year older, some new blood in the league. Other guys going to play well. And then he comes back and he backs it up and does the exact same thing and goes 21st last year, 23rd this year. He was the best putter on LIV Golf by strokes gained. If you're Stinger, he's a guy that you have no problem keeping around. Like, just keep finishing in the lock zone and you've got a job for a long time.
Yeah, I'm this year 3rd in putting, so that's obviously pretty good. It's his lowest date. He's currently 130 in Data Golf. That's his lowest rank since October 2021. So clearly his best year in a long time. And he had a real chance of winning Doral if Mark Leishman doesn't make that long par putt on 18. So, overall, great season for Charles Schwartzel. I had him 41st, so I kind of agreed with you on thinking that he was going to take a step back. But he is who he is now. Like, he's a fringe lock zone player, and he's shown it the last couple of years. So I had no reason to doubt him going forward. That was silly of both of us to put him that low.
Phil Mickelson, our last lock zone guy, spoke with a few events to go that he really had his sights set on a top 10 finish and then didn't really do much those last few events since he said that. Still stays in the lock zone, finishes 24th. I thought 45th. I didn't see Phil making this kind of jump. Like, at some point, Father Time will catch up with Phil, and he said not right now. It's gonna. So where did you have Phil?
I am 36th.
Okay,
So
so
I
you've
had him
got,
improving,
yep.
but I didn't see lock zone coming. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 years, 39th and 46th. So jumping up to 24th. Phil obviously changed some things with his game. Mostly he talked about his approach, that he didn't need to try and keep up with the young guys hitting it super far. He needed to be more strategic in how he got his way around the course, landing zones, figuring his game out from a different perspective than how his career had kind of shaped up the way it had gone up until that point. So props to Phil for taking that challenge of being older, not being able to hit it as far, which he still hits it plenty far. But to say, I'm going to play my own style now instead of trying to keep up with the Joneses, and it actually paid off. Because also, Phil missed the first event of the year, had that shoulder deal from lifting
Yeah.
weights or whatever it was. And Phil could have scored points in Riyadh. We don't know that.
Easily. I mean,
That's a type of course that Phil had a real chance to gain some points at. So if he's healthy all of next year, shoot, why not be a lock zone player again?
yeah, he could easily do it again. And you mentioned changing his entire perspective. He changed it so far that Phil the Thrill, loose cannon, does whatever he wants. He didn't have any eagles in 2025.
That's crazy.
That's like Phil Mickelson not having an eagle. That's nuts. But you look back at his season just quickly, like Hong Kong, Miami, Virginia, all chances to win, all incredibly special performances. Like those, like I mentioned, Bubba Watson gave me the warm and fuzzies earlier. Like those give me the real warm and fuzzies. Like these final years of Phil, which we don't know how many good years left Phil has left of golf in him. Like, let's just be honest, he's turning 56, but they need to be cherished. Every chance Phil has of winning golf tournaments, we all need to watch, because if he does end up getting a win, it will probably be the most consequential win of his career, in my opinion, outside of his first Masters. And I think he would say that too.
That wraps up the lock zone. We're going to move on to the open zone. You want to lead us through that? I kind of led us through the lock zone. You lead us through the open zone.
Yeah, you did a great job at it too, which I was kind of hoping you'd keep going, but that's fine. Anirban Lahiri, I predicted him 23rd. You had him
16th.
And he finished 25th. So I think this has shown that I've been a lot closer in my predictions than you when I've actually said them. 21st in strokes gained this year, but league leader in overall leads blown on LIV Golf. Just a shocking lack of dog. And he's shown it a few times, but Virginia this year blew a 4-shot lead. And then from Valderrama on, just was in a downward spiral, not getting any points as the season went on, lost both of his singles matches. Overall, like Anirban Lahiri did not have the best year, and he'll come back next year and be a better player. I think he'll probably be pretty similar to where he finished this year. It's just a matter of getting over that mental hurdle, which that's just the one thing that's holding him back from being a truly top end player on LIV Golf. So, what do you think about Anirban?
Yeah, you nailed it. He's exactly what the Crushers need, though. Like, you got to have a guy, either your 3 or 4, which we could debate, that is also capable of being on the podium, because that, it allows another guy to
Very
maybe
capable of the podium for sure.
Yes. It allows another guy to have sort of an off tournament if your 3 or 4 can be a podium type guy. So, the only category of strokes gained where he was negative was his medium approach. Like, his game is there. It's just that, like you said, that mental piece that he needs to finish off.
Yeah. No, a big 2026 for Anirban incoming. We hope. 26th, Tyrrell Hatton in the shocking season in terms of season long standing. I predicted him second. You had him at fifth. So we were expecting a big year. I'm sure we were both expecting a win, maybe multiple. 11th in total strokes gained this year. So you look at the standing in comparison to his stats, wasn't the worst season ever. His money list total, where is he? He was 27th. So an interesting year for Hatton. 3 top 6 finishes, but his average golf fell outside of the points, which isn't gonna do you any good on this league. But the true dud was never really there. He never had like DJ type performances where he was really out of it. So overall most surprising, but 2026 is easily going to be the best, the easiest turnaround to bet on for any LIV Golf fan, I would think, right?
Yeah, I would say his 2026 mirrors his 2024, where he had a win and then 2 more podiums. When we talked about Legion, you had made a point last week about, it wasn't always Caleb Surratt that held him back. There was actually a couple tournaments where it was Tyrrell Hatton that was the guy that kind of kept him from winning or from leveling up as a team. So lots to come from him. Obviously, he plays a ton outside of LIV. He's going to play the Ryder Cup. That's really important to him. So he plays everything he can to be, considered for that and actually locked in the automatic spot. So just going to see a lot of Tyrrell Hatton between now and the start of LIV again. So,
yep, we certainly are. And going to the 27th player in the standings, Richard Bland, 22nd in strokes gained this year. His best finish was 5th. Another solid season. Rooting for Richard Bland to be in the lock zone, like that's a real feat. And he was just short of getting it done this year. It was just a matter of just not getting enough high end finishes, 3 top 10s. But his 2024 was so magical. If he would have been able to follow that up with as good of a 2025, I think everyone would have been surprised by that. So overall, really good year by Blandy again, proving he's one of the better. He's the second best old person in golf right now.
I'm fist pumping because I predicted him 27th and he finished 27th.
Ooh,
so
I had him 35th.
He'll be 53 years old when we start the 2026 season. And the best thing about Richard Bland, when you look at statistics, is that nothing jumps off the page. That means nothing bad, like no good, but no bad. Like he's not severely lacking in any statistical category. And it's just amazing the way he can plot his way around a course with almost no mistakes. And you look at where he finishes from one week to the next, and you're like, he's playing really good golf with some of the best players in the world. And it's incredible what he's doing at his age.
Yeah, 2026 is a big year, assuming he's back on the league, which he should be, obviously, but could be his last on LIV Golf. If you're Richard Bland, I think now it's like you're at a point now where you're really just playing for lock zone or bust. I think going forward, starting next season. Fair. We'll see. Cameron Tringali, you were fist pumping for Richard Bland because you predicted him spot on. I predicted Cameron Tringali spot on at 28th. Where did you have him?
22nd.
Ooh, embarrassing. Best finish of 5th place this season. Only 3 events finishing outside the points. Obviously never known to be a guy that can win golf tournaments, but his ranking really wasn't indicative of the season that he had, in my opinion. Just a consistent player all around, obviously. The best thumbs up in all of LIV Golf, which is controversial to say. But he's a clear number 2 on this team. And if the high flyers get an off-season signing, then he is one of the best number 3s in the league by far, I think. So overall, a great season by Cameron Tringali, in my opinion.
We talked about best players to not have a win on LIV. I think Cameron Tringali is the best player to never have a podium in LIV.
Wow, he's really never been on the podium?
Never been on the podium.
That's bananas. I had no idea. That's a great pull.
One of the best putters in the league. Like, there's a few things he just needs to tighten up a little bit, and he's back to being a lock zone player. Like, I think his game is there. I think it's trending upwards. I'd like to see him play a bunch in the offseason. We'll see where he shows up.
Does he even play at all? I didn't look into that. Like, did he play the Saudi International last year?
I think he might have. I'd have to look at that, though.
Yeah. Cameron Tringali is not going to play a ton of events, nor should he if he doesn't want to. People are going to be clamoring for Cameron Tringali to get in the majors because they want OWGR points so bad. Brandon Grace, the 29th finisher. I predicted him 32nd. I predicted a bounce back year. Did you?
Brandon Grace. No.
Ooh.
I predicted 44th.
Yikes. 4th place a couple times, most notably in Valderrama, where he won the hearts of millions with just his sheer grit throughout the season, and then finished 4th in Indianapolis, 5th in Chicago. A real great end of the season to what most people would say was the most hated player in the LIV Golf League by its fans. So incredible turnaround. The league itself was rooting for it more than anyone else. Biggest question mark is his wrist. Is he going to do anything about it? Is he just going to let it go? He's obviously played his best golf ever since that injury happened. So Brandon Grace overall, any other takeaways other than he's the reason why relegation shouldn't exist?
No, there was a couple other guys we talked about, like Tale of Two Seasons. That's also him. Like through 6 events, nothing. Doesn't play the 7th event. Like the wrist was bothering him. I think that was why he didn't play.
Yeah.
And then goes on an absolute tear.
Yeah. No, and great season. Hopefully he's back and healthy. That's all we can root for. Moving to the 30th ranked player, Louis Oosthuizen. I had him at 27th, and people were clowning me for it. That's way too high. He's way too good. And apparently, I was too generous. Just didn't have the best season. Where did you have him?
I thought 14th because he was finished 6th place last year. He was essentially Dean Burmester. What Dean Burmester did this year is what Louis did last year. Just kind of under the radar, finished 6th. I didn't think, obviously, another top 10. I didn't think he would fall to where he did. Finishes T2 in Dallas and then doesn't score any points in the last 4 events. And if he scores some points in 2 out of those 4, we're talking about Louis lock zone, but doesn't matter. He's a captain. He's back. So I think the best thing for Louis going into the offseason is he has no roster decisions to make. Like
he gets to focus on himself.
Squad's back. Work on your game. Get ready for that home event in South Africa. Louis will be a lock zone player next year.
Ooh, bold take. Louis, he was 27th in strokes gained this season. He was 5th in 2024. And even more interesting from that, he was 7th in putting in 2024, and now he's 46th in 2025. So real downturn. And I would probably say that's the reason why he was so bad this year. So it's a matter of fixing the putter. You're probably right. If he can fix that, then he will be a lock zone player. But it's a big if. You never know with this guy. Moving on to the other big surprising drop this season, Brooks Koepka, 31st in the standings. We predicted him to be 5th. I did. What did you pick him at? 6th. So we were pretty spot on in terms of how we thought his season was going to go. Just a bad season overall. 33rd in strokes gained. He went from 8th to 20th off the tee. He went from 17th or from 5th to 34th in approach, 17th to 35th and around the green. Never a great putter, obviously, but just all his stats went down the toilet. His season was saved by Singapore and Adelaide having top 10 finishes there, but just overall, just an absolute shell of himself. So overall, just a disappointing year for Brooks Koepka. He never gave his knee injuries any sort of excuse. Who knows if it's even real? It's just all the off the course stuff. There's a lot of noise regarding Brooks and what his future holds. So who knows what happens there? But I expect him to turn around going forward. What about you?
Yeah, I don't think that there's concern about Brooks's play. He'll be back. He'll be fine. I am a little surprised he played last week. He's playing next week. If there was something with the knee that was correctable other than just rest.
Is that a word?
Correctable?
Yeah.
Okay. I think if there was something that was correctable, he probably would have had a scope done or whatever right away, but he's not. He's playing. So tells me that there's probably just some rest coming up that's going to probably fix whatever's going on there if there is something going on there. So
yeah,
he'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll see. And hopefully he continues to play or get better after just a tumultuous season. 32nd in the standings was Junichiro Kazuma. I predicted him 47th. I'm assuming you had him pretty low as well.
43rd.
Okay.
We also didn't
anticipate him only playing half the events.
Yep. And
so a real chance at being a lock zone player as the season went on. Dallas obviously was the highlight, getting into that playoff, was pushing for lock zone, but kind of faltered down the stretch. Number 3 in strokes gained around the green and in the limited amount of events he played. Do you or do you not think he will be on LIV Golf in 2026?
From a pure fan perspective, I think he should be. I think the Ironheads, if he can have the season he had this year, but play a full season, because he played 8 events. He scored 3 times as many points in 8 events as he did the entire season before. So was that an anomaly? He didn't finish the year well. I think his injury concerns probably are the biggest thing. Like, is he truly over those injuries? He was playing really good golf right away when he came back, and then that kind of slowed down. Strokes gained like around the tee was exceptional. He was miserable off the tee. So all those question marks, and then he puts that post out, or I think both him and his wife put a post on Instagram that was like, oh, this LIV thing is over for him. Like, it wasn't an official announcement, but it was kind of like, morbid's not the right word, but yeah, it was sad because it was like, oh, thank you, LIV. What a great experience. So it's tough because we know Danny's back, has another year on the contract. If it was Danny's contract that was expired and Ginny had a year left, you'd feel just fine about that. But apparently that's not the deal.
We'll see. It'll be an interesting offseason with that team, obviously. Everyone's really excited to see what they do. Moving on, Caleb Surratt, 33rd in the standings. I predicted him 31st. Where did you have him?
37th.
Okay. Second in the league in putting. Incredible season there. I mean, he has real holes in his game around the green and approach. But if you're top half strokes gained player in year 2, where he should have been a junior in college, I think that's a good indicator that 2026 is going to be a big season.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. I put, if your 4th best player on your team is improving at the rate that Caleb Surratt is improving, you've got nothing but good outlooks for that guy. Like,
yeah.
And how that can help your team. And then take into account that your other 3 are pretty darn good players. If you're John Rahm, you have so much to be excited about with Caleb Surratt. The level of improvement that he continues to show is just, like you said, he should be a junior in college, and he's showing improvements like he's 25, 26 years old. Now, he does credit that to coming to LIV, being around John Rahm every day, being around Tyrrell Hatton every day. No question marks about whether that was the right move for him to improve as a golfer or not.
Yeah, a big props to him getting his first podium this season. Caleb Surratt podiums 1.5 over under next year.
I'll go over. I'll say 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think he's ready to win a tournament yet next year, but I think he finds himself on the podium twice.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. But it'll be interesting to see because he's obviously
so many of the podium spots are taken by his teammates. That's the crazy thing. Like, it's hard to get on the podium when your teammates are hogging those spots.
Yeah, it seems like everyone in Legion is only getting better, aren't they?
Feels like it.
Graham McDowell, 34th. I predicted him 46. Where did you have him?
Ooh, 26th.
Ooh, so we're kind of in the middle. You're obviously
29th last year, so slightly worse. Did take 2nd in Virginia, which he didn't have a podium last year. So in that, finished a little worse, but also had a better result as far as competing and contending, which I think you mentioned. I had sent you that article a week or 2 ago. Like, he has no intentions of not playing golf next year. People were murmuring about Sky Sports wanting him to be in the booth because he was excellent as a broadcaster, and I think that's probably in his future. But he's like, no, I'm still a pro golfer. I'm playing golf regardless of where it's at. So
yeah, and it's evident that he cares. I'm sorry to cut you off, because when you go back to Virginia, just the agony of defeat when he had that birdie putt and miss to potentially get in the playoff, like, in my opinion, that was the most heartbreaking moment of the season. Like, this is a guy that came so close, and no one deserves it more than him in terms of just good people, in my opinion. So that was my heartbreaking moment of the season.
I think his spot on Live is safe,
Should be.
probably with Smash. If he goes somewhere else, I guess it doesn't surprise me, but I think he's back another year. So
Yeah, I'm rooting for that. We'll see. But moving on, 35th, Jose Le Ballester. Where did you predict him to start the season?
not on Live.
And I also predicted that 37th in total strokes gained, fifth off the tee. It's really interesting because when you look at his just data golf stats, go a little deeper, he's dead last around the green. And I credited his just creativeness in Chicago as a big part of why I was so excited about him. And so I was like, dead last, that's interesting. But when you go from UK to the end of the season, he played about even to the field. So I think if he can keep that form up around the green, a win in 2026 is inevitable. Do you agree?
I'm not ready to jump to a win. Like, he was obviously more ready to play than I thought when the announcement came, and that announcement made the season very interesting, just from a league management perspective, and some of the question marks that came out of that. Obviously, Sergio knows he can play, right? And Sergio had this figured out and how he was going to get him here. And it'll be interesting because he's a guy that I think needs to play a lot of professional golf between now and February.
Yeah.
And we'll see, is he in every international series event? Like, I would think so. I think that's the best route for him to go. And I think that that's a key to him being able to contend more regularly. Is he just needs to play more pro golf.
Yeah. Just more golf. Does he need to play in the last 6? Maybe not. Maybe. But would it be great if he played in 4 and then get another like DP World Tour sponsor invite? Maybe, I don't know. But I'd love to see him play at least 5 times this off season just to kind of get more reps under him. Like that's what you need more than anything, especially with his talent. Like, it's not a matter of improving one specific area of your game, but just getting reps, because I think he's that good to where he's a dominant force in this league. 36th, Ben Campbell. I predicted him 45th. Where did you have him?
52nd.
Interesting. 36th in total strokes gained, but first overall in putting this year. I would say the most hated free agent offseason signing. Because you could say Brandon Grace was more hated, but he was already in the league. But his third place in Singapore really cemented that he's a competitor in this league. Obviously didn't possess the firepower over the season. I think it's safe to say for me that he's going to be a contender in the promotions event. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I think he has to be there because I'm not sure his roster spot is secure.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't think he's going to sign back with
without that third place. We talked about some other guys that just didn't have the significant points that come with a podium finish. If you take that out, the points for Ben Campbell there, he finishes 47th in the league. So
yeah,
the difference of finishing on the podium one time, what that can do for the perception of your season, even just not even talking about your own confidence and thinking you can compete. But he was so bad off the tee. Putting, he was really good. I don't know that if the range goats have an opportunity to get somebody better on the team, I think he's the first guy you let go, because you're just not.
Yeah,
I
agree.
You don't feel any like you owe him anything. So it's interesting. One stat that jumped out to me. So Ben Campbell had a third place finish podium, and his worst finish was 53rd, which was a T53, meaning he finished dead last in a tournament, or tied dead last. There were 12 players. It just jumped out at me as I'm typing in best finishes, worst finishes. There was 12 players in the league who had podium finishes and finished in the 50s. I thought that was kind of intriguing, but it also just makes me kind of ponder like how hard it is to be consistently good. These guys that are never finishing in the past 35 or never finishing past 40, how crazy hard that is, because you have guys that are podiuming, 12 guys that are finishing on a podium and finishing in the 50s at some point in the season.
Well, that's actually a really good defense, because looking at the money list, Ben Campbell was 33rd in the money list. Like, obviously, he didn't have the 33rd best season, in my opinion, but you look at that, it's like, okay, was the money list a really good thing because only one good finish saved him in terms of just having real substantial money in the league. And then you say, oh, actually 12 guys got podium finishes and finished in the 50s. Like, oh, okay. So it's kind of common, and it should also kind of reward just those really high finishes, which obviously that matters, right? So interesting. That's a really interesting stat, and I'm glad that you brought that up when I was going to bring up my own thing. So that's a good play overall. Martin Keimer, 37th in the standings. I had him 43rd. Where did you have him?
23rd. I thought we were going to see a bounce back season.
That's crazy. Martin Keimer, I mean, he's just a guy, right? Like, was in the final group in Virginia. Bucket hat Keimer, obviously one of the swaggiest. I would say one of the swaggiest profiles ever was Bucket hat Keimer. But he's just a guy, and he's fun to watch when he's good, but he's just not that good. So I got nothing to say about Keimer other than just he finished around where he's probably ranked in the league just overall, right?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I had higher hopes for him. Finishing 37th doesn't surprise me. Third worst strokes gained off the tee. I think captains don't have to be the best player on their team, but it's really hard to lead on a team like the Cliques that have, as far as their play goes, a very limited identity. And then you have a captain that's also not a strong player. It's just, I think the Cliques need more leadership on the course.
Yeah, which I think Keimer is a good leader.
Oh, I do too. But
he embraced this whole rebrand.
Yeah,
and I thought he did a tremendous job with it. But it's just a matter of on the course, like, you're not looking at Martin Keimer as like, help me,
right,
type thing. So, Peter Uline, 38th in the standings. I predicted him 21st. Actually, did I predict him 21st? Because
no, that was my prediction.
Oh, darn it. Where did I have him? I had him. Hang on. I have my X open. Peter Uline. Oh, it's gone now. Gosh darn it. I don't know where I had him. But Peter Uline, 38th or 39th, excuse me, in total strokes gained. And I know he's going to hate me saying this, but it's one of the craziest stats I've seen. Peter Uline, top 5 in driving distance on LIV Golf, but he's 53rd in strokes gained off the tee. Only hit 40% of his fairways, last by almost 10% wild. What do you think about that?
I actually had put that in there too. That he was 5th in driving distance and 52nd or 53rd in strokes gained off the tee. Like, bombs it and does himself absolutely no favors.
Yeah.
It's funny because it brings up Bubba's quote. I don't even remember what press conference. Oh, it was the team previewing the team championship. Bubba says something about Wolf and Uline, like, we'll just let them hit it as far as they can and figure it out from there. Like, that's literally what they had to do. And that's why he's not playing better. I don't know what's going to happen with the range goats. I put in my notes that I think a new team might be refreshing for Pete.
God, I mean, maybe.
I don't know where he goes. There's not like an obvious fit, but he was so good from the end of LIV to the beginning of LIV. The international series seems to be his thing. I don't know what's the key to unlock like the better play on LIV. Like, the off the tee stuff is so glaring, but he's still able to win and contend in the international series events, which it's not the same level of play. I know that, but he was better there than he was on LIV. So
yeah. Well, people were calling Bubba Watson after just taking Taylor Gooch to the top, winning the individual championship. People were calling Bubba Watson like the Phil Jackson of golf, like just taking these guys and taking to an elite level. But it's proven that Thomas Pieters was not anywhere near an elite level. Peter Uline hasn't been anywhere near an elite level. Matthew Wolf hasn't been anywhere near an elite level. So the Phil Jackson comp from a couple years ago has unfortunately fizzled. I I love Peter Uihlein on the range coats. I think he fits the team perfectly. Just his whole dynamic, his demeanor. I think he's a perfect fit on that team. I don't know what other team's going to take him. Like,
Yeah.
That's a question mark too, right? So I hope he stays. I mean, obviously one of the OGs of LIV Golf, and really made his career on LIV Golf. Like, he really didn't have much of a career before this. So I root for him more than most. So Sam Horsfield, 39th in the standings. I predicted him to finish 24th. And what a horrible prediction by me. What about you? What did you have?
25th.
Wow. Okay. So we were both expecting a big Sam Horsfield year. And after his starts in Riyadh and Adelaide, where he was 12th and 7th, it was like, oh shit, he is going to be a lock zone player. But he only got points once the rest of the season. I think overall, we need to root for him to be off of LIV Golf. Genuinely a bad player in this league. I can't get enough of disliking Sam Horsfield personally. So what about you? Do you agree?
This is a statement that you would never in a million years guess was going to be said on this podcast. Sam was the horse that the Majestics needed to ride, and he turned out to be a pony. Like, that team needed Sam to be something, and he's not that. Like, okay, we have to go a different direction. Like,
I'm sorry, you were so close. You said Sam was the horse, and I'm like, holy shit. He's gonna say something, and it's gonna end in field, and it's gonna be like this sick like idiom or whatever. And it kind of went off as that. But I thought you were gonna make Sam, horse, and field in the same sentence. That would have been fucking sick.
Like, when you look at those four
you're right.
players,
You're right. 100%.
Their
right.
only chance to have a guy finish in the top 20 or top 15 was if Sam Horsfield was really good this year.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. He was miserably bad. Like, okay, yes, there's guys behind him that I want to stay in the league. Part of it's we just don't like Sam Horsfield a lot. But
you're
outside of the second place in Nashville last year, he's a non-factor. Like, he's just out there. He's not doing anything to help the team.
Yeah, and like he's a guy, he's been on LIV since the very start, right? He's also an OG. But like it was the Majestics had that team as a projection of what this team should look like 3 elite players and then this young guy that we're going to develop and mold to take over the reins. But he has done everything but take over the reins. He's just been dog shit.
A lot of horse references here.
Yeah, dog shit in a field, right? God, you were so close. You were so close. Matt Jones finished 40th. I predicted him 51st.
49th.
You had him 49th. So, like, his season was saved by Valderrama. Shot 6 under in the final round to backdoor into a 4th place finish. He's not coming back, I don't think. He only had points in two other events. Like, it's just Matt Jones it's kind of ran his course, I think. As also another LIV OG, I don't want to see the end of him. I'm very selective on who I want to see the end and who I don't want to see the end of. But Matt Jones is one of those guys who's embraced this whole thing from the jump. This has been his professional life the last three and a half years. So overall, like Matt Jones, we salute your service, and I think he'll go down as one of the more fun LIV Golf players to come through. And we're going to lose an incredible pace of play as well if he leaves. So, yeah.
Not much to add. I don't know what the transition is going to look like for guys that age out or play out of LIV Golf. But Matt Jones is a guy that if I'm Ripper, I want to find him a way to be in our front office or he just bleeds the Ripper brand. So find a way to keep him around. But from a team perspective, somebody better needs to come and fill that spot.
Yep. Couldn't agree more there. Jason Kokrak, I had him 29th. He finished 41st. I had him 29th. Where'd you have him?
36th.
Okay. So we were both predicting a little bit of a downturn because he's been a lock zone player the last 2 seasons. 35th in total strokes gained, 11th in putting, which dramatically improved from 36th in 2024. And he mentioned on the Fairway to Heaven podcast when he was on it about just the the struggle he's had with putting and just changing to different putters. And this is after him contending in Greenbrier. He finally had a putter that worked for him, and he stuck with that putter. So just a weird season overall for him. Kind of disappointing if you're going to improve that much in one facet of your game and just kind of fall off the rest. I see him coming back. I think he's going to contend the lock zone again in 2026. Just an off year this year, in my view, but I think I am probably in the minority of that.
Yeah, I just think if Smash wants to make a change, to me, he's the guy. You're not getting rid of Gooch. Graham McDowell had a
You're
pretty
keeping
good
GMAC?
year.
Kokrak's
Yeah,
been smashed since the start. You're
he
going to let him
has.
go after 2 lock zone seasons
I
before and just
mean,
a bad
is he a
year?
candidate to trade? Is there somebody else that would want him? I don't know. But he finished 10th twice. That was his best finish, was 10th. Just didn't get the point. Like last year, he finished on the podium at Greenbrier. So he was just missing those points that you get. I don't know. If he's back with Smash and they bring all 4 back, I'm not as excited about that team as if they could find one new blood or young player, but I don't know. Maybe that's not the Brooks Koepka mentorship route either. So
I don't agree personally. I think if they run it back again, which obviously you're not wrong that it's probably not the sexiest thing, but I don't think it means the worst either. But that's a time for another day. This is the last review podcast of the season. After this, it's just podcasts just to talk and bring in guests and stuff. So just
what you
before,
told me we were going to do a Live Golf podcast review where we reviewed all the other Live Golf podcasts.
whew, that's funny. Matthew Wolf, that's actually really funny. Matthew Wolf, 42nd this season. Jeez, bad year for him, obviously. I predicted him 17th. What did you have him?
12th.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Yikes. 50th in total strokes gained. Went from 2nd to 27th in off the tee this year. 21st to 52nd approach. Just a shocking downturn. And the only 2 events where he really played well were Riyadh and Korea. And those were the 2 really main course fits for him. So 2026, it's kind of viewing this year as the same with Kokrak, like flush it down the drain, never happened. But 2026, we need something to feel a little safety for going forward.
Yep. I thought year 2 with the range goats, we would see Matthew Wolf really settle in. And obviously I thought quite well. And like the potential for him to be top 15 in this league is somewhere in there. And then it wasn't there. And now I'm starting to question like Matt Wolf's future. I know you're not to that
I'm
point,
not yet.
but I think one more season of what we saw this year, I think it's maybe the Matt Wolf experience is over.
We'll see. Danny Lee, I predicted him 42nd. He finished 43rd. Where did you have him?
41st.
Okay, so we were both pretty close. 49th in total strokes gained. You look at his stats, obviously data golf, nothing great. And then you look at the Live Golf stats. The only stat that he was in the top 20 in either basic or data golf stats was fairway percentage. So Danny Lee played a really just bad brand of golf all around all season. 9th place in Miami, his best finish. Only other event with points was at Valderrama. We mentioned earlier that Na said Danny signed a 2-year deal, so we expect him back. But at best, we got to look at him as a number 4 just on any team, no matter who they bring in at this point.
The most disappointing thing for me with Danny Lee was how much how much energy they pumped into having a home event, and Danny Lee finished dead last at Korea.
Yeah.
Like talk about a bummer. Like, I mean, no one wanted that event to go better for themselves and the team and all that stuff than the Ironheads. Like, there was so much juice going into that, and he played so bad. And if there's one thing Danny Lee is known for, it's being inconsistent. But he was just consistently bad. Like,
yeah,
we've seen Danny Lee win, like you mentioned earlier, on Live and be in contention, and he was just bad. So, like some other guys you just mentioned, throw it in the trash, run it back one more year with Danny.
Well, Danny Lee, I'm saying throw it in the trash with Wolf and Kokrak is like, you guys are going to come back. Like Danny Lee, I'm not trusting that he's coming back to solid form.
Yeah. I mean, would it surprise me if Danny Lee had 2 or 3 podiums next year? No. But could he also still finish 40th? Yes.
Yeah.
So that's Danny Lee's brand right there.
Yeah.
Finish on the podium and then finish dead last the next event. So
Kevin Na, 44th finish. I had him 33rd. Where'd you have him?
32nd.
32nd. 47th overall in strokes gained. His 3 finishes in the points were early on: Adelaide, Hong Kong, Singapore. And then after Miami, he never finished in the top 30. Just obviously a bad season and kind of unexpected coming from Kevin Na. Was his poor play due to trying too hard to be a captain mentor to Yuban Zhang? That's a silly question. I'm
No,
just
I know it has nothing to do with it, but does something there, like, was he feeling something because Yuan Jang wasn't performing at a level that I think we all think Yuan Jang can play at? There's more to it than that, obviously. Kevin Na just statistically was so bad. No top 10 finishes. 8 of the 13 events he finished in the 40s or 50s. Talk about other guys that never one time finished in the 40s, and Kevin Na's in the 40s or 50s 8 times.
yeah.
Just like bounce back seasons happen, and he needs one next year, and that's all there is to it.
Yep. That's all there is. That's all that needs to be said. 45th, Brendan Steele. I predicted him 39th. Where did you have him?
47th.
Okay. So we are both kind of down on Steele after winning last season. 34th in strokes gained. His big problem was his putting. He was 53rd in the league. And I think he overall, like, a good player, solid enough stats to make hay, but just so bad putting, couldn't make it one to drop. This is a season where I'd expect him to finish in the high into the mid to high 30s next year and be a great 4 for the high flyers. So another throw it in the trash. We'll see you next year, but I know you don't agree with me. You're done with him.
Well, I thought I was. And then I looked into some statistical things. He finished 45th in the league, but when you go to the average finish, he's 33rd. And that's where those not extending points beyond 24th really throws some wicked things in these low guys. Like, he has the 33rd best average finish, and he was on relegation watch for
Yeah.
part of the end of the season.
Yeah. It was real relegation watch.
His strokes gained average, like total strokes gained average, was better than Brooks, who finished 14 spots ahead of him in the standings. Like, the more I dug into Brendan Steele, the more I realized his season wasn't as bad as I thought, but he just, when you don't have finishes in the points, you don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's not like he was finishing tournaments in the 40s and 50s the way Kevin Na was, but he wasn't earning any points the same way Kevin Na was not. So it was a tough deal, because if points went to 30th or points went to 36th, Brendan Steele has a way better season than some of those guys ahead of him. But you just don't gain any points when you finish beyond 24th. And so it's hard to distinguish 25th from 54th sometimes.
Yeah, and money list wise, he was 38th this season. So obviously a good advanced stats season. Good enough, I should say, for what his finish was. Better than his actual season long points finish. So another interesting debate there. Lee Westwood, 46 in the standings. I predicted him to be 52nd. Where did you have him?
33rd.
Wow. That's interesting. I would have never have guessed that. If you would have told me any Majestic is going to be in the drop zone this year, I would have put everything down and said it was Lee Westwood. I just didn't see 2024 being a real redeeming year. And it really wasn't. Like, it was fine. He had, like, the stretch of Open Championship qualifying to Virginia was his best stretch. He was one proper switched ball away in Riyadh from being in contention there. But he only got he's only had points in one event. So or 2 events this year. So Lee Westwood, how many events out of the 39 events in the last 3 seasons has he gotten points in?
Out of 39. 7.
Ooh, so close. 8. So, like, Lee Westwood, I mean, he was your best player this year because I don't count Sam Horsfield, but like he's not good. So Lee Westwood, like next year's, I view it as his last.
Here's my issue with this. With the 3 captain system on Majestics, if you said only one of those guys can come back, Lee Westwood did more this year to show me that it should be him versus either of the other 2.
And that's sad, but I
That's
agree.
sad. I get that. Here's another. You gave me the how many? 7? No, you said 8.
8.
What jumped out at me? 0 podiums in his LIV Golf career.
I mean, that's not. I don't find that super surprising, but
I mean,
for a guy of his ilk, maybe it is
considering
surprising.
where he's at in his career, no. But considering the level of player that Lee Westwood has been for most of his career, to not fumble his way into a third
He was number
place,
1 in the world at one point, and he'll
Yeah.
tell you that.
without ever winning a major, very few guys have done that.
Yeah.
But to not have like stumbled into a third place finish, especially in like 2022 or 2023, I thought was interesting. But
Max Lee, Cheapo Lee, whatever you want to call him. I'm still calling him Max. I don't care if he wants to go by Cheapo. I only have to talk about him for a few more for this segment.
this might be the last one.
This might be the last time I ever say his name, unless he does something in promotions. 47th this season. I predicted him 50th. Where'd you have him?
54th.
Ooh, wow, dead last, but unfortunately not dead last. 51st
2 tournaments he did
gained.
finish dead last.
Yeah, that's true. But Hong Kong, Chicago, his only points, and those points cost Henrik Stenson a spot on LIV Golf going forward. So, what do we think about Max Lee?
That's crazy. That a guy who has no shot to remain in the league costs a former major winner and high level player at one point in his career another season. Anyway, Max kind of had the season that I was hoping Yuban Jang would have. And I know he finished 47th, but if Yuban Jang had finished 47th, he would be back with the Ironheads next year. But a 12th place finish, a 13th place finish, Max just never found consistency. We heard over and over and over, Max was the first one on the driving range to start the day. He was the last one on the driving range to finish the day. Is that him grinding and wanting to get better, or is that him having no friends on LIV and nothing else to do? I don't know.
That's kind of messed up.
Well,
listen, Max Lee, like you go on his LIV Golf profile. It says Chinese Taipei, politically correct, but it could say Taiwan. So like, there's already that little battle infighting there. Do you want to talk about the Taiwanese and China conflict that's going on right now?
Well, Cheapo Lee made $1.6 million this year and has no future on LIV. So I don't think
for him.
He's not going to look back at this season and think it was a waste. He just solidified his ability to be a professional golfer for a long time. So,
yep, he was 49th in the money list this year.
The last time I ever say Cheapo Lee, take care.
Ian Poulter, 48th finish. I predicted him 40th. Where did you have him?
40th. So did you even change your notes?
Shit. Maybe I didn't. I don't know, but doesn't matter. Ian Poulter, like last season in 2024, and then this season as well, early on, he really publicized that he was working, he was grinding, always videos on the driving range. But as the season kind of came to the end, his YouTube channel came about. I viewed it as like maybe he's ready to throw in the towel. That may be unfair, but Ian Poulter is most likely back on LIV Golf next year, which I love Ian Poulter. I would love to see him play, and I'd love to see him prove that he is a real player on this league. But unfortunately, I just don't know if I see it happening.
2022, 31st. 2023, 34th. 2024, 37th. 2025, 48th. Unfortunately for Ian, if he thinks that a turnaround is coming, there's nothing that shows that it's coming.
Yep.
He's never produced a podium finish. His only 2 top 10s in LIV Golf history were last year, a 5th and an 8th. His strokes gained are just dreadful. If he was a responsible, smart captain, he would step aside and go get a better player. Like for the good of the team, he would do it. I think he's got too much ego to do that, which is fine.
I don't even know about ego, dude. You got to get rid of You got to get rid of Stenson, apparently. Then you got to get rid of Poulter. And then hopefully you got to get rid of Horsfield. So you'd have to replace 3 guys. That's a lot. That's asking a lot of any team.
It's asking a lot, but they have this franchise thing figured out, except for the on the course stuff. If they could figure out the on the course stuff, the Majestics are a wagon.
We'll see. And I did look. I did have 40th, so I did not copy your thing.
Okay.
Henrik Stenson, 49th. Change it to the drop zone on the calendar on the thing. We move to the people that everyone loves to see that they stink. They can't wait for them to be gone. The dreaded drop zone. Henrik Stenson, 49th. I had him 38th. Where did you have him?
29th.
29th. So we expected
35th last year with 2 top 10s, and I thought maybe a slight improvement, but
we expected better things. First in fairways hit this season, but dead last in strokes gained putting, and he couldn't get a putt to save his life. And so it's a real shame that his LIV career is ending the way it is. I don't know if Henrik Stenson is the type that will, like the Mito Pereira type, where it's like, oh, it's obvious they want to sign him going forward. I don't know if the Majestics are going to go forward with that. I think Henrik Stenson is a really great player, and you see him up close, like he's still a true athlete.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
the guy is absolutely chiseled.
Yeah, so like Henrik Stenson, like if he came up to me with my girlfriend that's maybe real, maybe not, and was like, I want her, take her. There's nothing I can do about it. So that's how I view Henrik Stenson. I'm going to miss him. I really am. And I teased the LIV Golf stories when we first started this podcast. I really want to do a deep dive on Henrik Stenson. That's an off-season episode. But yeah, I got nothing else to say about him.
Henrik Stenson won his very first LIV Golf tournament. He was not an OG. He joined, was it the third event or something?
Yeah.
Bedminster, which he won. How many podiums has he had since then?
0.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm a Henrik Stenson fan. I always have been. I followed him. When I went to the Shell Houston Open in 2016, I followed Henrik Stenson a lot. He had a phenomenal year that year. But unfortunately, this, to me, if he doesn't figure out a way back through the International Series or the promotions event, this kind of feels like the end of a career. And I hope in some capacity he can stay involved with Majestics. And if the golf landscape was different, he'd be on the Champions Tour and he'd be a huge draw, because I think he's always kind of been a beloved figure in golf, but it sucks to see him go out this way.
Yep, I agree. 50th, Andy Ogletree. Dead last in strokes gained approach. Was very quick to use his wrists as an excuse for a poor 2024. And then we all expected him to play well in 2025. I had him 21st. Where did you have him?
31st.
So like we expected a solid year from Ogletree to really solidify himself as a potential 2 on this High Flyers team, but nothing came to fruition. Everything was stinky. His best finish was 17th. His worst finish was dead last. Andy Ogletree, like he, just the personality of a wet napkin, just nothing great about him. He's gone, and I'm happy to see that he's gone. Even if he was in the open zone, Phil wouldn't sign him back anyway. I don't think this 2-year deal has been nothing short of bad for the High Flyers, and it's really set them back personally. So, any Andy Ogletree?
No, I just had a note about the High Flyers. Is I wish they had a little more fire like Phil has. Those 3 guys that Phil has with him couldn't be more opposite of Phil. Like you say, wet napkin, and Brennan Steele and Camo Tringale are barely more than that. Like,
yeah, but like that, like if I were to go to like church and I saw Brennan Steele and Cameron Tringale there, it'd be like, oh, how are you? Like we would ask about each other's families. We would ask about like the weekend plans. We talk about the ball game. You go to you see Andy Ogletree on the street, and it's like, get the fuck out of my face, dude. Get out of here. Who are you? So I view Tringale and Steele as a lot more open and inviting, and Ogletree as just like, stay away from me at all costs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know Ogletree's exact age. He's young.
He's like 26.
He's a guy that in 2 years could win the international series, or in 2 years, whatever it is, to get back on LIV. And I'd be like, really? Andy Ogletree again? But he does have that kind of like high end game. It's just he's not an interesting or fun guy to root for.
Andy Ogletree is 27.
Okay.
So his birthday is in what month?
Don't know.
April. Mito Pereira, 51st this year. I had him 37th. A totally
39th.
Just a terrible season, of course. 53rd total strokes gained. Best strokes gained stat was putting, which if you think of Mito Pereira, he's not a good putter. But it turned out that putter wasn't the crux of the issues. It was everything else. His season progressed from Valderrama on. Only one round from Valderrama on where he played below his trend line. And that was round 2 at Indianapolis, where I followed him for 9 holes. So it makes you wonder, did I end Mito Pereira?
No, I think Mito ended Mito.
Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to see what he does this offseason, of course. How many international series?
If there were odds on the guys in the relegation zone and the likelihood that they would be back on LIV next year, having earned their way back, granted, there's no loopholes, whether that's promotions event or in international series, I think the odds makers would say Mito has the best odds to find his way back.
I would say so too. Yeah.
Just he was starting to play a little better. His talent level is superior to some of the guys that he's competing against in the relegation zone if they all choose to play the international series and promotions event and figure out how they're going to attempt to get back. Mito would be, to me, the odds on favorite to find his way back. Mito was the only player on LIV who did not have a single strokes gained category positive.
Wow. AK had a positive strokes gained category?
Yeah.
Whew, wow. Interesting. I had no idea. That's a really good nugget there. Moving on just really quick. Luis Maceveo. We're only talking about him because he was in our initial season-long predictions. I had him 49th. You had him.
I had him 53rd.
53rd, so you were closer.
But if he plays the whole season, I truly believe you're closer.
Yeah, but he didn't, heart of the cards. I think just an overarching Maceveo take, and I think you agree with me on this. Please, no LIV Golf team sign him, make him earn his way onto the league next year. I really don't want that. He's a true downgrade in most scenarios for most teams, in my view, and I think in your view too. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Yubin Jiang, 53rd. I predicted him 44th. Where did you have him?
42nd.
42nd. I mean, just so shocking that he played so bad. 52nd in total strokes gained, 51st in average finish, only in the top 34 times. His best stat was driving distance. Like, just you look at Yubin Jiang, his best finish was 23rd. So, just the biggest shock of the season. You watch that Grass League video, and man, you just look at a young Tiger Woods with how he's moving those wedges. But unfortunately, Yubin Jiang only had it in the back nine of that Grass League video. So, real shame to see him go. He should be on the league next year. I think next year he's going to have a great season no matter where he plays. It's just a matter of figuring it out, and I think he will. So, any prevailing Yubin Jiang thoughts? Because obviously we're very supportive of him.
Where he plays. Does he go back to the KPGA? Is he a Asian Tour International Series guy for 1 year, basically trying like crazy to get back on LIV? Whatever he does next year, I think he's going to have a bounce back year, and we're going to potentially say his name on this podcast as someone that could win the promotions event or be an international series qualifier a year out from now.
Yep. We're rooting for him. We always will. 2 more, and we're almost at 2 hours, which I think we've done a good job moving, but this is taking forever. 54th, Anthony Kim. I predicted him 54th. Where did you have him?
50th.
Okay, so you had him potentially getting points this year. 54th in total strokes gained on Data Golf, was in the 50s for every basic LIV stat other than eagles and putting. You look at AK's season. He started the year with a blood clot after Riyadh. Kind of scary. Like he played every event, but it was uncertain with what his outlook looked like. He had a chance to get points in Dallas, a real chance, but in the end, he could never put 3 rounds together. In the end, also, I think the experiment worked out. I'm happy that AK came back. Whether it yielded positive results on the golf course, obviously not. But I think it was worth everyone's while. And I think AK, throughout his weird trolling heart that he likes to do, I think he's a good person overall.
Yeah, a couple of points on AK. If you only listen to the LIV haters, you would assume that AK finished last in every single event.
He didn't finish last once?
Right. Not one
Wow.
single time did AK finish last, which is not what you would hear from those that hate AK or hate the LIV sphere or whatever you want to say. Looking back, I wish he had been a little further along when he made his comeback. I think if he had been 6 months to a year further into golf when he made that Jeddah, when he made his debut at Jeddah, if he had been 1 year further into golf, I don't think we're watching him get relegated this year.
Yeah, and that doesn't even mean like playing competitive rounds beforehand, but just being all there, right?
Yeah.
Like his golf clubs, getting fit, learning how to use like TrackMans and
Having a
different
caddy
devices
that
like
could
that.
help you navigate a course.
Yeah, like it wasn't there. So it's a
He's still
good.
grinding. I'm guessing he's going to play international series events here this fall. We'll see what happens. He wants it. I do believe he still wants to be a professional golfer. We'll see what doors are open for him and if he chooses to go through any of those doors. So,
Yep. And last and least, Frederick Ketrup, 55th. I predicted him 48th. Where did you have him?
48th.
Wow. Good job. 55th in total strokes gained on Data Golf was 0.7 strokes worse than AK, giving him the third worst strokes gained season in LIV Golf history. He finished dead last 3 times. We never really got to get to know Ketrup. Was never really on the broadcast. Obviously had a terrible season. But the no fairway to heaven, no real like LIV Golf avenues to show us Frederick Ketrup, other than the cliques posting some Instagram videos about him. Like, we don't really know this guy. And the fact that he's gone, it's like, okay, you never really said anything at the party anyway.
Yeah. Only played 12 events. Of those 12 events, half of them, 6 times he finished in the 50s, which that's bad.
Not good.
I don't think he's as bad of a golfer as he played. I think the LIV experience, he never acclimated. I think even if he plays a little better, I don't think he's good enough at this point in his career yet to be out of the drop zone. I still think he ends up in this relegation debacle. I don't know where he goes from here. Maybe the Hotel Planner Tour, which obviously that's the step before the DP World Tour. But one thing about him that always stood out and never made sense to me is he's 25 years old and he had the shortest driving distance in the league of all the players.
Really? I didn't know that.
It just never made sense to me how you're getting outdriven by Richard Bland.
Well, and not even getting outdriven by Richard Bland. Like the formula of being a successful professional golfer in this modern era is strength, it's distance. And I mean, to win 3 times on PGA Tour Americas if he's having the shortest driving distance on LIV Golf, he obviously isn't driving it long anywhere else. So interesting. That's an interesting way to see it, because I'm really surprised by that stat.
Good luck to him wherever he ends up. I don't think we'll ever see him back on LIV. So that's it. We did it. 1 through 54. We are over 2 hours. The only thing we have left to just mention is this week ahead. I don't even know what the count is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys are playing the DP World Tour BMW PGA Championship. Crazy good field this week. We had a good field last week for the Irish Open. We've got more LIV guys playing this week. We've got more PGA Tour international players, I guess I would call them, playing high-level players. So it's going to be a really good tournament, and I expect better results this week. Obviously, Rahm, Neiman, Burmester playing, so we didn't have really our best guys playing in the Irish Open, but you get those three this week, and then Patrick Reed, Adrian Moronk, Thomas Peters is going to play. Tom McKibben, who was top 20, finished tied for 20th at the Irish Open, was the highest finisher for LIV. Tyrrell Hatton's going to play, and Brooks Koepka's back again. So we'll see if Brooks can make a cut this week, which he did not at the Irish Open last week. So anything to add to that?
Well, obviously Wentworth is worth the price of admission watching anyway. You forgot one other person who is in action this week, and that's Bryson at the Procore. Right?
Yeah, his mouth will be in action, eating with his teammates for the Ryder Cup team meals. Other than that, I don't know where he'll be playing on some muni a couple miles away, probably. So,
do you think Bryson, while he's in Napa with all the Ryder Cup guys, like, do you think he's there and he's like Justin Thomas hands him like a breadstick, and he just thinks about the time that Honorbon Lahiri handed him something during one of the meals? It's like, God, I miss LIV Golf. Take me back. The season needs to start again.
He's going to wear Crusher's gear to the dinner. He was at the Walker Cup giving rah-rah speeches this weekend to the Walker Cup guys in his Crusher's gear. So he's full on promo at this point. Like, appearances is all about spreading the Crushers love and getting that brand out there. So yes, it's Ryder Cup team building, baloney, whatever. But it's also Bryson pushing an agenda with LIV Golf and the Crushers brand. So
yeah, no, I mean, he's doing the most with wearing Crusher stuff. He has so much that he doesn't want to. If he's one that's like offload like 2024 stuff, I'll take it. So
it'd be really interesting if we knew that the Crushers had an opening on their team for next year.
They don't.
So, all right. I think we got to cut it off. We're at 2 hours and 7 minutes now. So
if you listen this long, comment the word bananas in the comment section. And that'll signal to us that you are a real fan.
And if we get some banana comments, maybe I'll save that surprise.
Wow. That's
bananas, really a bananas comment down below on YouTube. Make it happen. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Right now we're going to try and have a guest on for you guys to chat a little LIV Golf, how the season went, how some events went. Maybe
we have plans for this is the last review podcast. We have plans to do other fun stuff during these next few months of off season. So be on the lookout for that.
All right. Catch you next week. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.